Not too long ago, I did a video about Texas House Representative Sheila Jackson introducing H.R. 127, which is a gun control bill that would require gun licensing, registration, and a partial ammunition ban. At the time, the text of the bill wasn't available, but the text is available now, and it's pure grade A unadulterated f***ery. Normally, I'd read a bill like this and just smirk because I knew it would have a hard time passing. That's not the case now because the Democrats have the House, the Senate, and the White House, and they're going for broke. Remember when I did that video about universal background checks and I said that the real goal of a universal background check was to use it as an excuse to create a gun registry? Well, Sheila Jackson just said, playing coy, we have the House, the Senate, and the White House. Let's just put our tatas on the table and just require registration outright. And that's exactly what H.R. 127 does. This bill will require you to send a list to the ATF of every make, model, and serial number of every single gun you own and buy. You'll also have to tell the government where you'll be storing each gun, and you'll have 3 months to do all of this. But here's where it gets real sexy. All that information you just gave to the government, including where you'll be keeping all of your guns, will be accessible to the public. That means Pookie, Chan, Chester, and Eduardo will not only know what guns you have, they'll know exactly where you keep them. This isn't a registry, it's a shopping list for criminals because they now know exactly where to go and what to look for when they come and rob you because they'll have a list of all of your guns in a PDF file. Understand that there are 400 million guns in this country. The government has to hire people to log all of that data. Guess where they're going to go to get the money to do this? You. So congratulations. Not only will you be forced to tell criminals exactly where your guns are, you paid to do it. The bill will also require that you have a license to simply possess a gun and ammunition. And if you're 18, 19, or 20, you can go to war, you can get married and start a family, but you can't protect your family because you won't be able to get this license unless you're 21. To get this license, you have to get a background check, get a psychological evaluation, and complete 24 hours of training. And once you get this license, you have to get an insurance policy. Keep in mind, you already have to get a background check when you buy a gun in the first place. So now you have to do it twice, when you get a license, and again, when you actually go to get a gun. The psychological evaluation will be conducted by a licensed psychologist approved by the Attorney General. Mark Garland is likely to be Biden's Attorney General. This is the same guy who, when a man wanted the right to be able to own a gun in his home, and the court agreed, Merrick Garland wanted the case to be done over again. So I'm sure this psychologist will be incredibly impartial when it comes to deciding who's mentally fit enough to own a firearm. Not carry, but to simply own a firearm. Speaking of impartiality, guess who one of the people the bill requires a psychologist to interview to determine your psychological state? Your ex-wife or ex-husband. So the person who likely isn't too fond of you at best and absolutely hates your guts at worst will now be in a position to strip you of your Second Amendment rights. Oh, and if you've ever been diagnosed and hospitalized for depression, you won't be able to own a gun, even if you admitted yourself to the hospital. Great job, Sheila Jackson. Let's just give people who are struggling with depression an incentive to hide it and not to get the help that they need for fear that they'll have the right to defend themselves taken away from them. Now I want you to ask yourself this question. If I'm a single parent mother working 2 jobs, working 7 days a week just to make ends meet, where am I going to get the time to do 24 hours of training if I want a gun to protect my family living in a crime-ridden neighborhood? That's who these types of training requirements hurt. She loses money when she has to take off of work, and she loses money when she has to pay for this training class. And she still may not even get the license to simply own a gun because her ex-husband, who may have been an abusive, gaslighting psychopath who wants her to remain in a weak position, may end up telling the psychologist during the interview that he believes that she's mentally unfit to own a gun. Not to mention, do you know how much a firearm trainer has to charge to make a course that accumulates to 24 hours worth training economically viable? 12 hours worth of training can cost thousands of dollars. Keep in mind, you have to pay to renew this license every year for 5 years. Then it's every 3 years. And then on top of that, you have to pay the government $800 every year for firearm insurance. Congratulations, Sheila Jackson. You just turned firearm ownership into a luxury only the 1% and the elite can afford. Oh, and I almost forgot. See those guns on the wall behind me? Apparently under H.R. 127, I won't be able to have those guns up there unless they are antique guns, and I have an antique firearm display license where I've supplied proof that it's an antique and told the government where and how I plan to display the firearm in my own house. And if you own an AR-15 or any semi-auto gun that they think looks scary, you have to get a separate license on top of the general license to own it. But the standard magazine that comes with the gun, can't own those because they hold more than 10 rounds. So you have to turn those in. Now I want you to take in all of the rules and regulations and laws that I just spelled out in this bill. And now I want you to realize that if you happen to break any of these rules, the consequences aren't like getting a ticket. No. You'd be facing up to hundreds and thousands of dollars in fines as well as decades in prison. People, we already have 300 gun laws on the federal level and 20,000 on the state and local level. Tons of people break these laws every day and don't even realize it. And Sheila Jackson Lee wants to add even more laws. This is the 94 crime bill all over again. It's sad because where do you think they're gonna enforce these laws? You think they're going to enforce them in the elite, in the rich people's neighborhoods? No. They're going to enforce them in your neighborhood. This bill is pure insanity, and the only reason she can get away with it is because the House, the Senate, and the White House are being run by one party. I know a lot of you are asking, well, what can I do to stop it? The way you stop it is to let your voices be heard. Remember, the people in Congress are voted in, not appointed. So they only do what they think they can get away with. So if you let them know that if they continue with bills like this, that they'll lose your vote, and enough people call, email, and mail letting them know this, trust me, they'll back off. People in Congress don't want to lose their seat. And if they think voting for something like this will jeopardize their re-election, trust me, they'll stay away from it. So if you're watching this video, you need to reach out to your representative and Sheila Jackson Lee and let them know to drop HR 127 now, or they'll have to pay for it when the re-election comes along. Right now, there's a culture war against the Second Amendment, which is why I need your help spreading our message to counter their message. You can help do this by leaving a comment, sharing this video, and clicking the bell and subscribe button. Let my voice be your voice, and let them know you want to keep America tactical, because the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed wasn't a suggestion, it was a directive. Also, if you're wondering where to purchase your AR-15s are essential, I will not comply. I am the militia. I lost all my guns in a boating accident, and your state-specific Keep America Tactical shirt, click the link next to my head or the link in the description section, or if you're watching this on a mobile device, tap the small triangle on the lower right-hand side of this video and click the link in the description. All right, now we have the performance mask at shop.mrcolionnoir.com. And no, these aren't the masks that suffocate you to death. You can breathe in this mask. It's lightweight material, very high quality. You know how I do.